Thank you, sir. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. We're getting ready to start our regular council meeting, but first we'll start with the invocation, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the blessings you've given us. We thank you for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Elkins. We ask that you guide us in our decision-making as we strive to help our community grow. We also ask that you watch over, guide our country's leaders. In Jesus' name, amen. I will now call the Elkins City Council meeting to order and ask our clerk to take a roll, please.
Councilor Bross-Friganera.
Here.
Councilor Carroll.
Here.
Councilor Chenoweth. Here. Councilor Hinchman.
Here.
Councilor Kearns.
Here.
Councilor Lowther.
Here.
Councilor Parker.
Here.
Councilor Pliszka.
Here.
Councilor Severino.
Here.
And Councilor Thompson.
Here.
You have 10 present, quorum.
Thank you, thank you. Is there anyone here for public comment tonight? If not, we'll move down to the minutes portion of it, and I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as submitted for the November 16th, 2023 meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. In your correspondence and notifications, you have your building permits from November 13th to December 1st. And we will go to our committee reports now, and we will start with Councilor Parker. Use your mic, please. Thank you. Turn it on.
Here we go. I just have to find the hot button. I don't have a formal report, but I would just like to note that our code enforcement officer is really doing a stand-up job. I meet with her on a regular basis, and she's always like 2 steps ahead. She's really getting after it in a thoroughly responsible and professional way, and I would just like to note that.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Bross-Friganera. Buttons.
Thank you. The tree board met this evening, and we were discussing our plans for applying for EquiTree grant, which has no match for the city. We're finalizing our urban forest management plan, which we will be presenting to council in January, and working on our Tree City application. Municipal properties will be meeting next Monday at 11, and some of the items of discussion will be the Veterans Memorial, update on streetscape, the Coca-Cola Alley closing, among others. Also attended the Elkins Historic Landmarks Commission, who are celebrating the expansion of the Davis and Elkins College Historic District. That's really significant, the additional properties. It always makes it easier to apply for grants, and also really highlights our historic heritage in town. They're working on updating their website and are investigating possible updated walking tours, trying to make more history available to the public. I will remind folks there is a Kump House event on Sunday at 3, celebrating human rights. It's the 75th anniversary of the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights, and that, again, will be 3 o'clock on Sunday, and that's it.
Thank you so much. Councilor Pliszka.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Hinchman.
Finance hasn't met since we last met. We'll meet next Monday at 1 o'clock. However, we're still doing well as far as growth. Out of 1,052 cities, we're still in the top 3%.
Excellent. Thank you. Councilor Chenoweth.
Personnel Committee hasn't met this month, so there's no report. I guess we'll meet again in January.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Kearns.
No report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Severino.
No report.
Thank you. Councilor Lowther.
Rules and Ordinances met Monday. We'll be voting on Ordinance 319, the competitive bidding revision. And Parks and Recreation will meet on the 20th at the Phil Gaynor Center. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Counselor Carroll. I like
Planning
the Christmas
Commission.
sweater, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I'm always here for festive energy. Planning Commission will meet 2 days next week, on Tuesday to discuss North 12th Street, the unzoned property, and then on Thursday to discuss the comprehensive plan, and both meetings are at 3:30.
Thank you, sir. Counselor Thompson.
No report really, but I just want to take this opportunity to thank our chiefs, our fire, and Elkins City police officers. Just for public knowledge, my husband was in a car accident on November 6th on the 5-lane, and they were there within minutes. I mean, it was truly phenomenal. So it's wonderful, the response time that our fire and our police have, and also the Randolph County Emergency Squad has. It's tremendous. So I feel really at ease knowing just how truly tremendous and quick response time they have. So I'm just really appreciative of everything. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we'll move down to our staff reports now, and we have our Chief Water Operator, Wes Lambert, first.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody here had a happy Thanksgiving. I haven't been able to really talk to you all for a while, so hopefully you got to spend time with your family. I know several of us did at the water department. Thank goodness we had a pretty quiet week during that week. Usually, you know how it goes. We usually get a lot of call-outs for leaks that week, but hopefully we continue that for Christmas. The guys have been busy this week. They've been working on several leaks, including the leak on Harrison, leaks on Harpertown and on Poplar Street. Also, I want to give a special thanks to Jeremy for getting that notice out for the Bull Water Advisory yesterday. Really means a lot that we can get that out in a timely manner because time's crucial, you know, for the folks out there to get that notice. And everything went smooth, so we really appreciate that. Also, for the SCADA system at the plant, I want to give you an update on that. I know it's been a little while since we've had an update, but finally the parts come in. All the Allen Bradley equipment came in, so CyberTech and Dwayne have been working very diligently. They're about 75% complete on that project now, so they're looking to finish that up starting the week of January 8th. So big leaps and bounds there. I promised council I would come back with any updates that I have on Whitmer. So kind of want to give you a timeline of events that occurred in November and up into early December now over there at Whitmer. So the PSC did rule that we're now in an O&M agreement with Whitmer. That was finalized in October. We've kind of been taking our time easing into that on the city side because we want to make sure that Whitmer can sustain itself before we take the reins. We don't want to grab a hold of it and then find out that they're not in a position to hold themselves up. So just want to protect our citizens as well as theirs. We want to make sure that they're in good shape too. On November 15th, field personnel were able to read the meters at Whitmer. That was the very first time they were read by the city of Elkins. My guys were able to familiarize themselves and read all 94 meters within a couple hours. So that was a good transition there. On October 16th, Jerry Roberts and I attended a county commission meeting, and we were pleased to report that they did approve a $60,000 donation to Whitmer for the backlog of taps over there and to help with the operational cost of Whitmer up to that point. So we're glad to have that help from them. On November the 30th, the Treasurer's Department was able to send out the first round of billing from Elkins to Whitmer. And I do appreciate the hard work that they've put in. I know it's been a little difficult of a transition there, but they've been really diligent with that, and I appreciate them. Also, on the evening of November 30th, the city of Elkins attended, and the Randolph County Commission attended a public meeting in Whitmer to inform the residents of the changes that would be occurring once the city officially takes over the operations there. There were several good questions asked. I thought it was a very good meeting, and overall it seemed like they were really receptive to us. They seemed like they were really glad to have us step into the mix and help them out over there. So as of December 1st, we are almost 100% complete with the $151,000 critical needs grant to upgrade the components at the water treatment plant. Once completed, Elkins will be able to begin operating the Whitmer water treatment plant. And the goal of this, we wanted to make sure before we transitioned into that operation that we didn't have any broken parts there. We want to be able to step into a smooth transition there where we can operate that plant remotely, because it is a Class 1. So we'll be able to operate that plant remotely for the most part. According to the PSC attorney, we're still a good ways away from the actual acquisition of Whitmer, so the O&M agreement will be in place until this happens. And another bit of good news that we did receive from Bob Rodecker and CEC. CEC is the engineers that were selected for the project over there at Whitmer. They submitted a PER, or preliminary engineering report, back in October to upgrade Whitmer's plant and their distribution system. So on November 30th, we did receive word that the Infrastructure Council approved approximately $2.3 million in grants for that. So that was really good news on that part. And of course, we're probably still a year or two out from seeing any actual physical project work out there, but it's really good news to hear that. We're moving forward. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
It's just kind of, I mean, I understand why, we were ordered by the PSC for this. So, and this might, I don't even know, is this like a long-term thing, or will there be a plan in place, or will Elkins always have to kind of maintain this facility, or is there a plan in place for a local authority like in Whitmer to actually like overtake it back once we kind of get everything kind of smoothed out, or what is that? What does that look like exactly?
Well, the PSC actually ordered the acquisition of Whitmer, so Elkins will probably permanently have them indefinitely. How long has that rule been in place? 2 years, Jerry, now, for the distressed and failing
For the
utilities?
distressed and failing utilities, something like that. It hasn't been very long. The Rural Water Association really lobbied hard to get it passed because there were lots of small water systems, sewer systems that were in the same situation. So we're in an interim O&M, operation and maintenance right now, but it will be finalized. The commission has determined that we are the capable proximate utility to run that. So the city of Elkins will run that water system.
Is that indefinitely, like just
Pardon?
indefinitely?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah. It just takes a while till they get to the final approval so that the actual total acquisition happens, but it will be the city of Elkins water system to run.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Wes, to add on about the town hall meeting last week, I want to commend you and Dwayne, Tracy, and Jerry for your efforts on that. You guys did a tremendous job. I will echo your comments. I think the citizens of Whitmer asked some very, very good questions. They were very receptive, though, and they said prayers have been answered. So I commend you and your staff for that as well.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Okay, Chief Bennett.
Good evening, everybody. In November, we responded to 405 calls for service, resulted in 17 cases and 14 arrests. That brings us on the year to 5,791 calls for service. I look back at last year at the same time, and we were within 80 calls of where we were last year, so that's pretty consistent. Other things we got going, we're still in the background phase of hiring for filling the 3 slots that we have open. That's probably take another month or so to get the backgrounds done and polygraphs and everything going on that. Saturday evening from I think it's 4 to 7, we'll have officers assisting at the First Baptist Church with the live nativity thing, same as they had last year. Last year it was a pretty big event. They had over 1,000 people attend that, and they're expecting a 50% increase this year in it, so that's probably going to be a pretty busy thing. So we're going to have a couple officers over there making sure traffic in and out's good and everything's safe there. On the 22nd, we'll also be assisting with Toys for Tots at the Phil Gaynor, handing out the toys for everybody as they drive through to pick them up. And we are starting into the procurement phase for everything that we're getting off of our technology grant. I've been doing a lot of speaking with vendors and things over the past couple weeks to get that in line, and hopefully we will have everything lined out and possibly up and running in the early spring. Other than that, I have nothing else unless anybody has some questions for me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Kissinger.
Good evening, everyone. I know at the last meeting I touched base on commending the street department on what a good job they did with leaf season. We actually extended it by 1 week because our truck broke down again. So the guys, could have very easily said, hey, we've already got to the end of leaf season, the truck's broke down, we're going to call it quits. But they got the truck repaired and went out for an additional week. So I just want to commend the guys. They take that very seriously. They take a lot of pride in it. And they did an outstanding job. So my hat's off to Sean and all the guys in the street department for doing that. I appreciate all the hard work that they put into that. Start with a little bit of bad news. Tuesday of next week, for the staff that works here at City Hall, please dress accordingly. We will have no heat during the day. The boiler will be shut down at 8 a.m. until question mark. We don't know. If anyone is in need of warmth, they can just visit Tracy's office because it appears to be the warmest office in the building. I was down there for about a 20-minute meeting today, and I think I lost 3 pounds sitting in there. So, but hopefully it won't be all day, but they are. I have coordinated with Brad and Lisa. They're going to come in about 3 a.m., get everything running, get the building as warm as we can get it. So when 8 a.m. hits and they shut it down, we will have some heat to sustain throughout the day. On a good note, we are going to put the HVAC system out to bid in January after the holidays. So we'll hold our breath and hope for the best when it comes to what kind of numbers we get back on that. Trash schedule will be changing with the holidays coming up. I'm going to get with our supervisor, Tim, and we'll get with you, Jeremy. We'll get that posted and get plenty of notice to the public to let them know what the changes will be on the trash schedule for the holidays so there's no confusion and everybody's trash gets picked up. Next week will be a busy week. We have on the 13th, the flower contract bid opening. That'll happen on the 13th. And then on the 15th, we have the Welcome to Elkins sign bid opening. And we rebid the sanitation garage project, hoping to get some better prices. We are going to do the bid opening on it on the 15th as well. So next week, we'll have a lot of exciting, hopefully exciting bid openings with a lot of good news coming out of them. We're hoping to get some better prices and be able to move forward on some of these projects. I don't have a report from our code enforcement officer. She's actually out of town attending the Code Official Association conference in Flatwoods. But just to touch base on what Counselor Parker said, 100% correct. We've got the right person in the right spot. She does an amazing job. She's very thorough in her work, and she does a good job communicating with me, communicating with others, and it makes the whole system flow very easily. So I'm very pleased with the work she's doing, and I see great things continuing to happen out of that office. So I thank you for noticing it and commending her. Too often we don't get a chance to do that, so I appreciate that. Other than that, that's all I have to report, unless you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Judy.
Well, I don't have a lot to report. It's kind of a business as usual. In the treasurer's office, we have been fielding calls from the Whitmer customers and are answering anything that we possibly can. The first 2 days of this week, our computers were down, so that left Wednesday catching up with everything for Monday and Tuesday, so it's been a little hectic. But other than that, I don't have anything else unless somebody has something.
I've spent a couple weeks in the DC area, so I'll be down tomorrow for your sauna to lose some weight.
Oh, well, yes, well, definitely, it'll be there.
Appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Chief Himes.
I'm going to be pretty brief as well. So month of November, 65 total calls for service. That brings us year to date at 627. We're trending a little higher than last year, not by much, but we're definitely surpassed last year's numbers. I got an update on the new engine earlier in the week. The body's complete. The project engineer always sends me the photos in a unique format that's very difficult to access from anything other than my computer. So I'll shoot some pictures out to you in the next day or so. They had a little bit of delay in that pump frame assembly with some personnel issues and fabrication, but it is underway, tentative completion in February. So things are still moving. Hopefully once that pump frame is done and they actually mount the pump, then everything will be under one roof and the speed will pick up greatly. So we did get our first proof on the graphics, and so we've got some decisions to make there, but that's all subject to change. So other than that, I don't have anything else.
No safety tips for the holidays, Chief? I'm disappointed.
No, we've got one more council meeting.
Okay.
If you've started decorating, make sure your lights are UL approved, and a power strip into a power strip is not a good idea typically.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, in the clerk's department, we just today did the 90-day evaluations for Melissa, the HR generalist, and Jeremy, our communication specialist. It's really hard to believe that's both flown by, and yet both of them already feel like real part of the team. We've all really kind of found our levels with each other, and I really think the department's firing on all cylinders, and I really commend both of them for how they've taken ownership and really thrown themselves into the work. With Jeremy, we were just beginning today to give some thought to next year and some of the kind of long-term proactive projects. I think one of the main things that we are hoping to do over the course of next year is revive plans that were underway just before the pandemic for a Citizens Academy, which would be a series of presentations where people from the community could learn about all the different departments at the city. And there'd be some gradations of that we'll be talking about, but some other things like that in the works. But I thank both of them for their hard work. I guess it was last Monday that we held the all hands presentation. Someone from the PEIA office came down to talk to 2 different shifts of city employees, 2 different sessions so that all shifts could attend, basically explaining overview of PEIA plans with an emphasis on the details of Plan C, which is the one that was going to enable the much better financial picture that we were talking about at the last meeting. That went really well. Melissa did a paper-based survey of employees just to get their response to this possibility, and she's crunching those numbers now. Paper-based to make it accessible, but of course that means she's got to do data entry to compile it. But the basic, most of what she saw was positive towards the possibility of making that change. I also wanted to say that was the second all-hands meeting that we've had since she got here. I can only imagine when the last one of those was at the city. That came very naturally to her. She's just like, we got to get everyone in the same room, talk to them like they're all on the same team, which of course we all are. But I think that already has set a tone where these employees are feeling like they're able to ask questions, they're feeling included in these processes. And so I think it just, I was telling her, this is normal to you, this is how you would do it at any workplace you've been at, but this is new here, and I think just having these all-hand meetings, regardless of the subject, has been a big step forward. The administrative team is underway in earnest, working on or finalizing the strategic plan draft, or our recommendations for it. So in the next month or two, we hope to get back in discussion with council about that. We're also taking steps to implement the WENS emergency notification system software that you approved at the last meeting. We're talking to the company about what the initial setup will look like, and that's looking like a really useful tool, both externally, but also giving us the chance to have a lot of team-based messaging inside the city that's going to make things easier for the people that drive the snowplows or the police department getting in touch with their personnel. T-shirt judging, ugly sweater judging. T-shirt distribution and ugly sweater judging, I'm 99% sure is scheduled for Monday, December 18th, and we may be fine-tuning the time. Some people have already expressed interest in participating. For the new council members, there's just kind of a convoy that goes around to the different departments and distributes and checks out the ugly sweaters and renders judgment, but we'll be in contact about the details of that. And then finally, I had the chance to attend the 10-year anniversary celebration for Woodlands Community Lenders, which it's all the same organization. There's Community Lenders and Development Group, and they rebranded as Woodlands Development and Lenders. But this is this powerhouse organization that it's hard to even, I mean, if you just flip through to the second to last page, I think, the middle, there's a map here that shows communities around their 3-county area that they've been at work in. It's kind of mind-blowing how many different things they're involved with. The lenders side of Woodlands is what's called a Community Development Finance Institution, which is a federally created category of essentially a bank that makes loans. And their purpose is to provide startup capital and gap financing to riskier types of loans for unconventional collateralized small businesses, people that the only collateral they have is their kitchen equipment, and a bank won't typically take that, but Woodlands will, and it may combine with community banks and works a lot with community banks and has been key to the startups of many, many very familiar businesses in our community and in neighboring communities like Tip Top, Big Timber Brewing. They're, of course, integral at the Tigert Hotel redevelopment, but all kinds of small businesses, too, probably ones you don't even realize. I think sometimes there's a little sticker on the door. But just wanted to underline that, remind you that we have an MOU to work with Woodlands Development on demolished properties. That side of their organization builds what's called workforce housing, high-quality housing for kind of middle-income families. And so if you know any small businesses or people that have ideas for small businesses that are looking for startup capital, looking for business coaching, looking for technical assistance if they want to launch a e-commerce side of their retail shop or vice versa, all kinds of things like that. There's all sorts of services and expertise. They're housed down at the Del Monte on the 3rd floor. And they'd be happy to hear from any of you with any questions or ideas like that you have. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Sutton? If not, Ms. Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been working with several of the administrative officers on different projects and also with Melissa on some personnel things that have come up recently. And if you have any questions about the items, the ordinances on the agenda, we can address it when that comes up. Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, down to the approval of the vendor invoice payments. Okay, we have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under new business, granting half-day holiday on Friday, December 22nd and Friday, December 29th. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion?
Typically, the way we handle it when a holiday falls on a Monday.
No. So you may recall at your last meeting, we came in and asked for a slightly different version of this, which was to simply announce that the city was closed at noon, or City Hall is closed, is normally the way we put it, and that then employees were, especially those that have customer service responsibilities, while not on a holiday, they would have the ability to use leave to take that half day off. From several employees, there was the request that that get translated into an actual half-day holiday. One of the rationales was that when you have new employees who are within their 90 days, they can't take leave or use a personal day, and so it creates kind of an awkward situation where they're, have to come to work, but the building's closed, so there's not much, purpose to that. I will say that various state and local agencies often do this kind of thing where they actually do grant a true, half day off or even day off extra outside of their annual plan. So that's what's being proposed here for these 2 days, Friday before Christmas and Friday before New Year's.
Any other questions or comments? If none, we have a motion, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Ordinance 317, an ordinance of the Commons Council of the City of Elkins, West Virginia, amending section of the City Code, Chapter 152, zoning regarding the zoning of unzoned parcels. This is the final reading. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Ordinance 319, amending and reenacting City Code Chapter 30.20 regarding competitive bidding. This is the first of 2 readings. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
May I interrupt just a moment?
Absolutely.
Before anyone takes any action, I just need to ask the clerk something. The ordinance that's in the packet has a paragraph stricken that I did not think was stricken. It's 30.21.
Which is about the...
Bid specifications, not the.
Right. Yeah, I emailed you about that. It seemed like that, since that requires council to design the bid essentially before it can be released, and that doesn't really fit with what's been the practice.
Oh, I'm sorry. The one you sent me, because you wanted to get the packet out, that I looked at, didn't have it that way. That's why I'm asking. Was there like an email after that I may have missed?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the paragraph she's talking about seems like kind of archaic language that says that before any bid is released, that council has to approve the details of it essentially, which I think isn't currently how typically we've been doing it.
No, it's not. I just didn't remember that that's what the committee had recommended. That's why I questioned it, because it was different than the one you and I had exchanged on Tuesday, I think, when you were putting the packet together. I must have missed your subsequent email. So that's why I was making sure that it was what the committee had voted on, whatever day the meeting was. Can't remember exactly, but anyway. I'm sorry, I just missed that subsequent email, I guess. The one I approved didn't have it that way, so. I mean.
Yeah, we can put it back in, I mean.
Well, all I meant was, I was looking at it as to what the committee had recommended, and Chris, do you remember? I don't remember that being stricken. I don't have any minutes or anything in front of me.
No.
The only thing I think we decided to strike was the section about penalties that didn't make any sense.
That's right.
Now, whether we just didn't address it, but I remember at the end of the meeting, I said, are we good to go? Is this the way you all want it? And that wasn't stricken in my memory.
That was not, no.
Okay. So, all I'm saying is I'm not sure that's what the committee had recommended. That's what I mean.
Well, do you want to just put it on the next agenda? Because I don't think we have the version here then
It's
that was
it's
intended.
totally, I wanted to make sure my memory was right about that, was all.
Let's get it straightened out and put it on next month, or next year's agenda.
No, 2 weeks.
2
Yeah.
weeks, well.
I mean, I don't know that.
We'll have to go back to rules and ordinances now?
Probably, well, I mean, if you're agreeing with what my memory was about it, that wasn't what the committee recommended. And generally, what comes to council is what the committee recommended. That's all I'm saying. And so,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to just
Let's
pull
get
up
it-
that one, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we need to put it on the
I mean,
the
there's no
21st.
urgency about changing this. I mean, there were issues that have come up over time, and we've looked at it and said, well, we probably ought to tweak this in some way. So you can make a decision specifically about that and whatever. And I'm sorry, Sutton, I missed your subsequent email about that. I looked at it and said, okay, it's off my agenda, and it was in a packet, and I just noticed it this evening when I was looking at it. So just not take any action on
So
it.
ordinance 319, no action taken, and we will postpone it to a future agenda. Resolution 1704, appointing B. White to the Board of Zoning Appeals. I will entertain a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
We have a motion. Any comments or discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, down to mayor's comments, and I will try to keep these brief tonight. As I stated earlier, I've spent the past couple weeks in the DC area, went out for a conference last week, but while I was there, I was given the opportunity to go down to watch the lighting of the Capitol Christmas tree, and quite a ceremony. And I have to commend Ethan Reese, the fourth grader from Beverly, who represented our state, our county, and our area very well. Erica, it was cold. Erica was there with the, yes, she was there with, what's it, the 4-H group you were with? Were you with 4-H? Is that who you were with? Yeah, she was there, and it was a frigid evening, I will tell you that now. So, yeah, the wind was whipping pretty good. So, but that was an amazing time, it really was. And then I made it back in time for the parade and the tree lighting. Really wish the rain would have held off, but it was still an amazing event. So thank you to all the volunteers that pulled off the parade, that helped put the tree together to make sure that it looked as beautiful as it does. It's an amazing tree that we have over there in our town square. So thank you for that. I also want to thank our workers right now. I mean, throughout the year, we say thank you, but they really step up and do a tremendous job, and they get a lot of curveballs thrown at them. I mean, they weren't expecting that much candy, I think, at a Christmas parade, but they did a good job of cleaning the streets up. But, I mean, our employees, they do a tremendous job, and I want to thank council as well. I mean, you guys have had some challenges the past few months, and you've stepped up and you've addressed them, and sometimes it always feels like whatever we do is never enough. But you know what? We're doing some great things for our community, and we're making it grow. And we know we're moving in the right direction. So for that, I want to thank you. I hope you get to spend some time with your family and friends during Christmas. This is a very special time for me and my this was my father's favorite holiday, so I reflect and have fond memories there. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.